Right, so I think we're live. We're on air. We're just having some last-minute technical problems, but anyway, you are here on Trash Talk, and I'm Richard Lewis, and you're probably sick of the sight of me at the moment because I seem to be everywhere on every show. So basically, what's been going on is apparently we've got some Twitch TV sort of situation where we're kind of getting a bit of lag. So I'm probably going to be like jittering in and out, like doing a fucking robot dance at the moment. So if that's the case, you might just have to watch the VOD and kind of muddle through, and I apologise in advance. But we are trying to fix it at the moment, which is why I looked so stunned and startled when we actually started the show. But hey, fucking professional as fuck, right? So anyway, just in case you don't know what the show's all about, and this is your first time tuning in, which I imagine for some of you it will be, because I seem to have had a late flourish of popularity simply by being a prick, which is kind of cool. So thanks to all the new people that have been wishing me well and telling me I am the man, even though I'm just doing the same shit I've been doing for 10 years. Good of you to finally fucking notice. So yeah, basically, this is Trash Talk. It's a phone-in. You guys basically get to call in and spout your opinions about esports stuff. So what we're going to be talking about this week, well, we never set agendas. I want to make that absolutely clear. So it's literally anything you want to talk about, but we did put some pointers out, which of course I will now run down to you. Obviously the League of Legends world has got to the final stage. We're seeing more Asian dominance. No surprise there. Did Fnatic do Europe proud? Maybe you've got an opinion about who's going to win. So let us know. And again, I think it's always worth remembering SK Telecom probably wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for the poor all-star performance from Europe in the first place. So interesting point. Patch 3.12, I think it was, has been rolled out for League of Legends, and as usual, it's fucked everything up. But we're starting to get back to some semblance of stability now. What do you think about the new patch, and how has it changed the dynamic, and what can we expect towards the end of Season 3 for us solo queue whores? Vile Rose wrote a really awesome blog over at LOLheads. I'll probably put the link in the chat in a bit. And he was really lifting the veil on this glamour, this alleged glamour surrounding LCS, talking about how, he was fucking sleeping on a floor using his rucksack for a pillow. There was only 2 computers in the gaming house that they had to temporarily stay at. They had a shower covered in mildew. I mean, it's like student life, but really shit. Like student life when your student loan hasn't come in. So definitely worth a read. Maybe Riot should be intervening to stop situations like this come up. I'd love to get your thoughts on that. WCS is trending along in StarCraft 2. What have you thought of the results so far? Scarlet's having a very good run. Perhaps you want to talk about that. And there's rumours abound that WCS may be enforcing a real region lock, an actual region lock for next season. So is this what we need in StarCraft 2? FXO have pulled out of FX Open. Is this likely to be the start of a worrying trend? I mean, there's a lot of doom and gloom surrounding StarCraft 2 at the moment. I think unnecessarily. I think, we've still got one more expansion to come. There's a long way to go in the game yet. I don't think we should be knee-jerk, but maybe sponsors think differently. What do you think's going on? This is a bit of Dota 2 stuff. The EGTL house is shut down. I mean, who saw that coming? We'll maybe you've got an opinion on that. We'll move on to CSGO now, and the CSGO tournament at Tech Labs was a fucking disaster. They actually gave as much stage time to a bubble gum blowing contest like women in hot pants as they did to the finalists. It was really fucking awkward. Maybe you were there and you'd like to call in and tell us how shit it was, or maybe you want to defend it. I'd love to hear from you. Toby1 is rumoured to be the voice of CSGO at DreamHack. I'm hearing rumours that there's a good chance he's going to get the gig. Are we pleased about this, or do we think that, it's not fair on community figureheads like Anders, who I believe was on last week's show talking about it? And finally in CSGO, EG, Evil Geniuses, my good friends, have hinted at a return to Counter-Strike. Is this a cynical DreamHack related move? Yes. Or is it validation for CSGO as an esport? Maybe. So call in if you want to talk about any of those or anything else. And just before we do move on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new section, which I think is going to become a weekly thing. We've actually had a lot of response to the show, even though the numbers aren't as big as, some of the other shows out there. We actually seem to get very passionate responses. So I'd like to take you now to the wall of hate, and we're going to show you some of the flame that we've received over the past week. And there we go. So thanks to all of those people who have sent those in, and keep it coming. We'll be showcasing this every week. I think I particularly love the first entry from John Grange, who such great witticisms as "die fucker" and perhaps the more profound "cunt fuck." I mean, Vince Gilligan really needs to watch out. Um, Amazing. And what really was incredible was if you look at the account history, the only other person he's abused so systematically as me is Stephen Fry. So as I've got older, I've been lumped in with the gay crowd as well. So that's great. Anyway, I think we're going to start some calls coming in now. So, and again, for those that are just tuning in, I see the numbers are spiking up a little bit. Again, if there is any lag, apologies. Not a lot we can do about it at the moment. We think it's a Twitch thing. Try lowering the quality if you can do that. And if you can't, then fuck it. We'll just have to get you guys all on the VOD. But anyway, hopefully the sound is coming through, and that's the important thing. So, Gareth, who've we got for the first caller?
His name's Chris, and he wants to talk about how Blizzard single-handedly has ruined every single title they've had esports potential.
Right, okay, well, that's a fucking bold claim, but yeah, I think that's a great place to start. Let's get Chris on the show. Chris, can you hear me? Ooh, ooh.
What?
Hey, Chris, can you hear me, brother?
Oh, shit, I'm on first. How's it
Yeah,
going?
yeah. You're the first guy. How's it going?
Oh, man, the pressure. Sandler's awkward. I'm sorry, I'm panicking.
It's okay, don't worry about it. So Blizzard have single-handedly fucked everything up, every game that had esports potential. So tell me about that. Go on, rant away, brother.
All right, so here's my take on it. You
Right.
have this wealth of knowledge, this passionate group of esports players, various games, and you have Blizzard, who has three of the biggest titles ever. You got Diablo, not an esport, you've got WoW, Hat Arena, and you've got StarCraft, right? Now, they also have some of the biggest followings, like 13 million people buy the games.
Yeah.
And then we have games like Bloodline Champions, which I hold as dear to my heart as you hold, Winston Churchill. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I love that game. And that tournament setup is so phenomenal. And the people that did it are so wise. And I don't understand why Blizzard can't get somebody who can kind of bring that to their game. They had WoW. They didn't support it. They had Brood War. They fought Kespa. They have StarCraft 2. There's still nothing going on. I don't know why everyone gets so mad about esports being in a bad state when it comes to StarCraft when it's Blizzard's fault in every respect.
Well, I mean, I agree with you. I've always said this. I said it for a while. I don't think Blizzard ever really knew what they had. Like, I don't think they realized they had the keys to the city, so to speak. And a colleague of mine over at Cadred, a guy called Jeff Kim, he wrote an article about this called Frozen Progress. That was a title that we both came up with together. You can tell because it's so fucking clever. And we were basically looking at what Blizzard had done, and we actually got in touch with some Blizzard employees who gave us some off the record comments. And one of them was, we don't care about, we're not trying to make a great esports game. We just want to make great games.
Right, right.
So, I mean, it clearly shows to me that
But they don't
esports
even
isn't
make
really a
good games
priority
anymore. I've been playing those games hardcore like forever, and I'm really good at them. Amongst the people who are good, we all hate it. Amongst people who are bad, they're also hating it. It's not like it's like the vocal minority or the arena players are hating it. Everybody hates it. Diablo 3 is the biggest travesty in gaming I've ever seen in my entire life.
No doubt, no doubt.
They do nothing. And not to mention, Dota was a Warcraft 3 mod. Who's the guy who sees that and it's like, I don't see anything there. There's nothing there. Nothing at all. And now, bam, guess what? Their game's being slayed by Dota and League of Legends. And now they're panicking trying to get out Dota All-Stars.
What do you think about Hearthstone, though? Because, I mean, everyone's telling me that's going to be the next big thing, bro. So maybe, I don't know. I'd be fucked if I know. I mean, it looks like, a very simplified version. I mean, obviously, because I'm a proper nerd, a very simplified version of Magic the Gathering. Maybe
right, exactly, yeah.
I don't know. But, I mean, everyone seems to be. I mean, like, every time I go on to Twitch or whatever, there's some girl with her boobs out playing it with, like, 90,000 viewers.
Show, Turn 2, which, by the way, is infuriating. Like, way to jump on the bandwagon, buddy.
Well, a lot of people in StarCraft are feeling comfortable doing that because it's Blizzard. So Blizzard aren't going to get upset with them. So,
Yeah.
you'll see guys like Katz, he's streaming a lot of Hearthstone, buying $200 of cards on his stream while supposedly not having enough money to fund a house. You'll see things like that. So, I mean, I think it's like, it's the bandwagon it's okay to get on board with as far as Blizzard are concerned.
But it's like, I don't know. For me, it's like if you literally just round up legitimately intelligent esports personalities, not like, you know the ones, not the ones that are not worthy, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just send them into Blizzard, and they just do it all. I guarantee you, like WoW Arena becomes viable as at least something. Even raiding becomes viable. You'd have not an esport from Diablo, but you could have like speed runs and just like time trials. There's just a plethora of things you can do. They don't even support their game. Where are the helpful videos from them to help you get into StarCraft? They don't exist. Where are the Blizzard development teams rating 25-man guild that they should have in-house streaming every night or something like that people can get in? There's no more community anymore. You queue up solo. You meet other people queuing solo. It's just not fun, and that's what StarCraft is. It's just not fun. These esports that are doing well, they're social games, and Blizzard does not tap into the social audience whatsoever. They don't make any effort.
Is it too late for Blizzard to do anything about that?
I don't know. It's tough, right? Like, who knows? But it's like, if they implement the things, if you build it, they will come. People are they're into it. If you look at all the numbers, Diablo 3 was crappy, but everyone bought it. Mr. Pandaria was crappy, everyone bought it. Heart of the Swarm followed StarCraft 2, which is crappy, everyone bought it. Like, how many more one more tries do we have in us, as Blizzard as a company? I bet they have a few more.
I mean, obviously what they're doing is they are going to be making serious moves towards free-to-play. We know Hearthstone's going to be free-to-play.
But that's not the answer. It has to be a management thing. You look at Valve. I mean, Valve is just the epitome of a company that supports all of their games the way that they're supposed to be supported. And Blizzard is just the opposite of that, the complete antithesis of what you'd want a company to be.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I just what I always like people to do is, because I don't do it, so I force other people to do it, is always try and come up with a solution. And the solution, as I see it, is very difficult. I don't know if there is any way back for it. I mean, WCS has been pretty much an unmitigated fucking disaster, I think. I mean, it is. I find it so difficult to keep up with what's going on, and it should be this awesome thing that's put front and center, like it should be the easiest thing in the world to follow, because it is like the world fucking series of StarCraft, and I don't see Blizzard pushing that anywhere hard enough. Like look at Riot, right? They've got their own one localized site where I can click on, I can look at the standings from everywhere around the world, watch the VODs. And it's all, it's awesome. I mean, it's got better. It wasn't awesome to begin with, but yeah, it's certainly better than the site that Blizzard don't seem to have invested in. And I'm very confused about why they don't want to push WCS. I mean, it only seems like yesterday I was talking about WCS as a concept, and we're partway through fucking season 3.
It's a lot of things too, right? Like when the biggest problem that Blizzard always has had is like you come onto their game. And if you're a layman, you don't even know about the fan sites, and so it's you struggle to get in the game. But Riot was like, click here for tournament, right? That simple thing, Blizzard took an entire expansion to add. Think about how much bigger StarCraft would be if in Wings of Liberty, at the very beginning, everybody could see the Fruit Dealer game. That game was spectacular. It had Baneling drops and like crazy strats, and he actually got to Ultralisk, which was like a crazy thing back then, and like it was just a mind-bogglingly great game to watch, and people got into it after that. But if you didn't know about it, like my friends, it was harder for you to enjoy it. I don't see why Blizzard, with all this money, and a lot of other companies, don't like join together to make some sort of gigantic like website that can help monetize all of the games, and that money gets proportionally put towards whatever the different games cause traffic and whatnot, so people can kind of like learn about other games and get into it. People who play League of Legends can be like, oh, I didn't really know about how StarCraft was. Maybe I'm going to play that now, because maybe they get fed up with how League, you're 1 of 5. Or maybe people in StarCraft are fed up that you're solo playing and they want to go learn Dota, and they can't do that because it's a tough initiation process. There's no help between platforms. There's no centralized, organization. There needs to be a centralized organization to monetize these games and get the word out at the same time.
So, I mean, sort of final question then. I mean, are Blizzard actually going to change? Are they going to learn, do you think? because
doubt
you know
it. Their track record is shitty, right? They're clueless. Everything they do is just a step backwards. Every single thing. I can't think of one thing. Widow Mines are OP. Buff Overseer speed. That doesn't make any sense, David Kim. Like they just like I don't know. Everything they do is just it's backwards. I don't understand.
Well, look, Chris, we've got a lot of callers to get through today,
Yeah.
but a great opening call, as always, and you provoked a lot of debate and discussion in the Twitch chat, as I'm sure you can imagine. So thanks a lot for calling in, and we're going to truck on, because we've got a lot to get through this show. But again, brilliant call. Thanks a lot. Hopefully speak to you next time. Right then, so I've just noticed as well that my fucking camera's gone off, which is a blessing in disguise. I like how the viewers go up while the camera goes down. So I'm just going to quickly restart that. Just 2 seconds, people.
Right, you're back on.
Right, hopefully that's me back on air. And again, you know, if not, again, we apologise. Loads of technical problems today. Can we, Gareth? Can we blame the Skype thing on Twitch? Can we do that?
Yeah, why not?
Right, seriously, Twitch, raise your game, man, because somehow your product is interfering with my Skype, and this is just unacceptable. I mean, first the lag, then like, you know, Phantom Lord, and now this. I mean, what next? Like a second Holocaust? This is ridiculous. So anyway, yeah, fuck you. Right, so next, I don't know where I was going with that bit. Right, so next call, Gareth. Who have we got?
It's his name's Hans, I think it is, and he wants to talk about. He felt that Total Biscuit's appearance on field last night was not the best. He felt like he added nothing to the conversation.
Okay, well, let's get him on then. I wasn't planning on doing a lot of talking about last night's show. But for those who missed it, Chamman's Unfiltered featured me, Destiny, Total Biscuit, and Too Good last night. It was an interesting debate. A lot of talk about this stuff that, again, I don't want to get into it on the show necessarily, but, you know, people not adhering to their promises. I was fortunate enough to be brought into some real esports personalities company, and I've traded on their stock by getting some new followers as a result of it. So, Hans, you wanted to talk about Total Biscuit's appearance. Yeah, so, I mean, you didn't think he brought a lot to the argument?
No, I watched the show, like, last night, and I think, like, in the beginning when you came on, you, like, had fair points, like, talking relaxed, and then TB came on, and, like, everything just went crazy, totally crazy. So yeah. I rewatched it today, like, trying to get something decent out of it, but it's just, he didn't bring anything to the conversation whatsoever. It was just dull talk.
I mean, in his defense, what I would say is I feel that, first of all, he was kind of put a little bit on the spot. You know, I mean, I don't think he was anticipating what I said involving him to get the bump it did. I think, you know, it was probably a 50 or 60 upvote thing on Reddit. You know, I don't think he was expecting anyone to notice it. So he probably didn't think to even, you know, that evening he would have to respond. Secondly, I'd definitely say it was very good of him to come on air. I mean, me and Total Biscuit have gone at it a few times, and I don't know why, because, I mean, look, the only thing I can think of that I've said about him that could be construed as negative is I've said that he jumps around covering different games to basically stay current and to make money, which that's his job, isn't it? Right? So
yeah, well, I really don't have anything like bad against him, but one thing that I've like stuck with him is that he started with World of Warcraft, and nowadays he's just like, no, I did not get famous because of MMO Champion. And that's so much bullshit, because that's exactly where he started. That's where he got everything from. And he's just blindly ignoring that now. And like for new people, he's like a Hearthstone guy. He's a StarCraft guy. He's everything. So you're right about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing as well with TB is, I mean, you know, right, he plays down, like, or rather doesn't talk about some of the stuff he does. I mean, Destiny made a very good point last night, which is it's strange for Total Biscuit to talk about people getting duped and throwing their money at almost like worthless causes in esports. Because, I mean, Axiom doesn't really do a lot for him. I mean, it markets him within the esports space, but it costs him money. It's a loss leader. They're not profitable. So in a way, he's throwing money himself into a bottomless fucking pit.
Yeah.
For the benefit of esports. So arguably, he's as big a sucker as anyone else that he was talking about in his SoundCloud file.
Yeah, I really think that was unfair.
Yeah, I got to say though, I mean, I don't know. I find this with Total Biscuit. That was why I wanted to end the show by saying this. He often seems to adopt contrary positions,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think this is because he's quite intelligent. Like, you know, I'm definitely not going to like drop to my knees and start sucking him off or anything like that. But you know, he is an intelligent guy. I mean, especially in esports standards.
Yeah.
I mean, I can link you to the Something Awful forums where he says, "Let's get this out of the way. I've got an IQ of 155." If anyone's interested in reading that thread, I do find that hilarious. But you know, he's a smart guy, and I think to exercise his intellect from time to time, he looks at what everyone is saying and thinks, right, how can I make a strong counter argument against what everyone is saying, simply to fulfill the function of being the dissenting voice.
Yeah, and that's like my main point, because sure, he made like a 20-minute video of your old article, but he didn't really respond to your editorial at all. He just came on, said some stupid things, not really like anything of good context, and then everything just went crazy. I expected him to come on, reply to your editorial in a fair way, just like his way of having a vocal editorial of his old SoundCloud file, but he didn't do that at all, I think.
Yeah, I mean, again, I got to say, when you're on a show with like Destiny and Too Good and myself, you know, it probably is hard to get a word in edgeways, even if you're as
of course
vocal as Total Biscuit. And, you know, let's not, I mean, Desro, whenever he chipped in, it was just fucking hilarious. I think everyone was just laughing for the next like 5 minutes after he spoke. But yeah, you know, I don't feel that. Look, here's the thing: the show was great in terms of discussion, but you're absolutely right. No one concluded anything. Like we didn't solve any of the problems we talked about.
Yeah.
We kind of went round in circles. So I think we're all a little bit guilty of maybe not bringing enough to the table. I guess when you put all those esports minds together, we probably should have tried to come up with a solution at least.
Yeah, and that's like my follow-up question. I mean, that would never happen, I think. Imagine a Shanman show with like, this is the show where we solve esports problem. And then having TB come on, that wouldn't happen. It's just found a chance to jump on, talk about this in like a civil way, and nothing really come out of it.
Well, I got some good news for you on that front. You might like this. I don't know if you caught this in previous shows. I mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. I've recently been pitching a new show to someone, basically called Esports Nightmares.
Yeah, calling out the bullshitters.
Yeah, basically what we do is we look at people that haven't paid prize money, and instead of me just writing an article about it or whatever, that maybe, you know, if it gets to the top of Reddit, people notice it, but more often than not, it doesn't. What we do is we'll actually go out and confront them. So, you know, we'll go to their offices, we'll write them emails, you know, we'll invite them to come on the show and explain where the money is. Or we'll go to a LAN event. Like if someone says, oh, we're at this LAN event and it's got like 17-hour delays, please come out. We'll fly out straight away and turn up and like go to the people hosting it. Why's your LAN shit? You know, what's wrong with you? You've been doing this for fucking years. Why can't you get it right? So, I mean, I definitely think there's a huge gap for almost like a consumer rights esports show, because whether we know it or not, everybody, all of us in some way, shape or form, we are consumers. You know, we consume content. We effectively pay for the content through subscriptions, through click-through, by not using an ad block, you know, sometimes directly through donations. And I think because there's this weird gray area surrounding it, we actually don't have consumer rights within esports, which is absurd given the fact that, you know, we are consumers and we definitely deserve to have them. So hopefully that's something we can put together. But if not, maybe there's someone sniping this stream and maybe they're going to fucking just go out and do it. And you know what? I don't think I'd be mad, because it's something that's necessary, and I'm amazed no one's done it before. So just some final thoughts then. I mean, you said Total Biscuit didn't really sort of bring anything to the discussion. What did you think about sort of Too Good's comments, and what is it, if you were coming on air and if you were a guest, what would you have liked to have brought to the discussion?
I would probably like ask people to just stop for a second and like think what we're talking about and like bring up a point and then talk about that. I think that Too Good joining like made the conversation a bit more calm, because I think you and TB went a bit too hard on each other at that point. And I think his like logic sense and talking made it more relaxed, but we still didn't like get a decent point in, which should have been like what I would have done. But I mean, it's just like a once in a lifetime thing that happened. It's not that important. But like my main point about TB is that if this was like structured, you would like announce the show that this was going to happen. You have talked with Shanman before, like not like this that you jumped in the last minute and had like a scripted page with questions and points to bring up. I really don't think that TB would have joined in, because I only think that the only thing he wanted to do was to jump in and get like a vocal follow-up of your article. Because if he wouldn't, he would be like back in the old SoundCloud file with your new editorial, and that would like put him up in a bad spot, I think.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think, hopefully, like I said at the end of the show, guys like TB and guys like Too Good could, maybe just step down. I mean, because they're in huge positions, like they've got huge followings, lots of money coming in. They're doing extremely well within esports. And, I know them well, like, I mean, Total Biscuit and me maybe don't always get along. I'm hoping he's starting to warm to me now, because he used to have me blocked on Twitter. He unblocked me. And now he's talked to me. He's interacted directly and talked about me. So maybe we're starting to find some common ground, which, would be great, because, he's an important part of the esports landscape, whether people like that or not. And Too Good and me go way back. So what I would love them to sort of step down from their lofty positions just from time to time, and maybe, let's do some actual good. Let's do some fucking collective shit stirring, because they're not bad guys. You'll never hear about Total Biscuit ripping anyone off. You'll never hear about Too Good doing it. Too Good's one of the most transparent people in esports, which, when I did the Esports Heaven show, and Stuart Saw from Twitch TV was talking about, well, I'm not going to reveal the specifics of contracts. Too Good said, I will. Here's what I got. And he went into it and listed all the money he got from his sponsors. You know what you're going to get with him. So I'd love those guys to maybe just take some time, instead of just making that dirty esports money, and just actually try and help out, some worthy esports causes. I mean, I think that'd be great. So anyway, look, Hans, thanks a lot for calling in, brother. It's great to hear from you. And I'm sure Total Biscuit will catch up on this, and no doubt issue some venomous tweet. Probably
maybe next time. Maybe next time we can like take the conversation in chat with you private, and then come up to something big instead.
Yeah, well, maybe. We did add each other on Skype at the end. Maybe it's the start of a beautiful, bald British brotherhood.
Some camming, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows, man. Well, anyway, look, thanks a lot for calling in, Hans. Take care, and hopefully speak to you soon.
Yeah. Good night.
All right, night to you too. So there we go. So a summary of last night, and again, for those who didn't catch it, go to Chanman V's channel on YouTube, where you can watch the VOD for free. It's Unfiltered episode 23. I'm not just saying it because I was on it, but it was a real good show. It blew up on the StarCraft 2 Reddit. Everyone seemed to enjoy it. Destiny, fucking hilarious as always. And Total Biscuit and Too Good. Some great personalities coming together. So definitely check that out. Anyway, who's next, Gareth? Let's have one more caller before we take a break.
We've got Gridlock, and he wants to talk about the region lock that may or may not be implemented with StarCraft 2.
My man, good old Harrison. Yeah, let's get him on board. So we got Gridlock. For those who don't know, I believe he was last seen, he might still be writing, but I think he was writing over at Quantic. So Quantic journalist, can you hear me there?
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, man? It's good to hear from you again. Really appreciate it. I read your article as well that you wrote and put up on Quantic. It was very good.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No worries. So let's talk about this region lock, man, because I've been a lot of people, their asses are twitching. People are worried. I think the region lock's going to be good for some people and very bad for some other people. So what's your thoughts on it?
I think it's definitely going to be really good. It's going to do exactly what a lot of people in the beginning of WCS said it would do, where it would promote regional competition everywhere, particularly in NA. and hopefully get a little bit more spotlight on NA players, EU players in both those regions instead of Koreans essentially playing online, dealing with the lag and still raffle stomping all over the local players. It's going to make things a little bit harder with Korean players because now they're all going to have to compete in Code S, and that's obviously not going to be easy, but so it goes. I mean, we're going to have to. NA players are going to have to compete against the highest tier of NA players over here, so some of them are going to get knocked out. But at least we'll see all but I think one foreigner in like top 16. I think it is right now. I think it's still Naniwa, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so it'd be nice to at least see anything but 15 Korean flags and one foreigner flag. It'd just be. And I think that that the region lock would definitely promote that.
Does it change anything in the long term, though? I mean, is it actually going to help, North Americans and Europeans actually get to a Korean level? Because if when the grand finals roll around, it's just a whitewash anyway, and from the last 8 or whatever it would be onwards, it's just Korean flags. Has it actually achieved anything?
I imagine you wouldn't see that for I would say a good year, 2 years. You wouldn't see any evidence of that. Look how long it took, South Korea to become what they are now. That's probably how long it's going to take for us. I definitely think that improvement will be made by discussion, team discussion, just not having really that language barrier so much. Not essentially. Just being able to communicate with your team members a little bit better, and then also being able to communicate with local players a little bit better within tournaments, finding out how their strategies are going, if they're willing to divulge that stuff. And it would definitely take a while. That's what I'm going to say. It's going to take a while. It's going to seem like, oh, it's just a whitewash anyways. Koreans are winning grand finals all the time anyways. But at least you'll have, the regional finals, you'll have foreigners coming out, and it would definitely improve the scene. That's the one instantaneous thing that I think you'd see within a few select months, maybe 6 months to a year. You'd definitely see a lot more sponsors hopping on with players taking home regional tournaments and all that stuff.
What about organizations that are relying on being able to enter Korean players into the North American region in the hope of getting that exposure by giving them an easier run to get to the grand finals? I mean, what's going to happen to those organizations? Is there going to be a flurry of panic? Are they going to release some players? Will they just enter them into Code S and hope it works out for the best? I mean, there's some Koreans that have relocated to America, which... I mean, are we saying they're still going to be able to play?
Yeah, I think there might be a little bit of a panic off the start, but if they really want their players to succeed and they don't think they can do it in Code S, but they want to keep those players, for instance, say e.g. with Jaedong, if they wanted to keep him and not have to worry about him, say, going into Code S, if they were thinking about doing that, they could always bring him over here. And there's another thing, you might see teams setting up more team houses in the respective regions, and then bringing those Korean players, if they're comfortable with doing so, over to the respective regions. So Korean players may come over here, but they may not. It's kind of on shaky ground what they want to do. So while there will still be some Koreans, for instance, Polt's still going to be in America. He's still going to play in America. He's probably going to stomp all over. But it's going to be less so. You're going to see much more foreigners at least getting some sort of victories.
Do you think then, I mean, if we do implement this region lock, I mean, is WCS going to improve? Are the viewing numbers going to go up? Are people going to start paying more attention to it? Is the structure going to feel more balanced? I mean, is it the sort of the step in the right direction that Blizzard need? Because I think there's lots of things we can tweak with it, but do you feel region lock is the biggest element, the biggest problem right now?
Yeah, absolutely. As far as the streams go, you're going to see your favorite players winning more tournaments and thus giving more incentive to see them stream. for instance, when Subby broke out, he had like, I think, what was it, like 2K, 3K viewers per, and now he's only getting a couple hundred. Imagine if he wasn't going up against a consistent amount of Koreans in tournaments and just getting shit on. Maybe his stream numbers would jump up and there'd be more incentive for him to stream more often. Definitely, I think European players would be the least affected by this because there's a couple of them already shitting all over Koreans in general.
Yeah.
Like they're doing really well for themselves. That's why I think it's more of an NA thing. So if there's one drawback to that, it would probably be the European scene, because then the ones that are shitting all over Koreans are just going to shit all over everybody else, and it's going to be pretty intense.
Anything else you think of that we could do to sort of bolster the NA scene? I know everyone's like saying, it's been done to death, but MLG were trying to reach out and give it a helping hand. They're talking about, doing some, sort of smaller NA-focused events and whatnot. Is there anything else you could think of? Because I think it's a shame. I mean, some of the biggest personalities in StarCraft are North American. It just kind of sucks that they can't compete on the same level as Europeans and Koreans. Or at least that's how it feels,
Yeah, definitely. A couple more organizations should step up. It's nice. What the nicest thing that I see is companies like Red Bull stepping up and helping out with stuff like IEM right now. The fact that they're willing to put in the effort to help out with that, and then MLG's kind of just like MLG did kind of like duck out, and now they're kind of trying to bring themselves back in slightly to help out with the more smaller tournaments and whatnot. If we saw them come back in, if we saw companies like what IGN did with IPL, that was amazing. That was amazing bolster to the scene, I thought. I mean, that was when MLG was literally the only one that was putting on major tournaments, like major tournaments in the NA, and IPL came in and swept that out. If we had and NASL's doing fine for themselves with running the entire WCS NA scene, so they're doing fine for themselves. And if MLG came back, that might strengthen it a little bit. Sure, some people might not be as receptive right off the bat with them, crying about how they left abandoned StarCraft in general. But I mean, it's going to take some work to get the trust back.
Well, look, it's always great to hear from you, especially now that you're doing a bit more journalistic work. So I can talk to you journo to journo. It's always nice. So thanks a lot for calling in. I think that's a real good point you've made. And you know what? I've said right from the start, like I changed my mind actually. I was one of the people saying it should be a meritocracy, fuck the region lock. And then I watched the first season of WCS unfold, and I was like, this is a clusterfuck. We need a region lock. So, I was wrong in the first instance, and, I definitely agree with you now. I think it's what we need, and hopefully by, season 4, we're actually going to have the sort of marquee event that fucking StarCraft deserves. So, anyway, thanks a lot for calling in, brother. No doubt I'll hear from you again in the future. Keep up the good work.
All right, appreciate it, boss.
All right, ladies, Chief. Right, so there we go. So that was Harrison, aka Gridlock. Check out his stuff on Quantic. He's a news writer, former compatriot of mine, but his studies got in the way. Real smart guy, nice guy too. So follow him and follow Quantic because they're back, living the dream, living the esports dream. So anyway, yeah, basically region lock. That's what it's all about, guys. We need a fucking region lock. But maybe you disagree, or maybe you're a representative or a fan of an organization who thinks they'll be negatively impacted on by the region lock. Maybe one of their shoe-in players might now have to go somewhere else to compete. Maybe it means they're going to have to invest heavily in building a house and getting motherfuckers visas or whatever. There's certainly, it's not as cut and dry as a lot of people think. So perhaps you've got some views on that. Do let us know. But anyway, for now, we're going to take a quick break. And I'm being told, I think that the lag situation might have cleared itself up. So great news. Do stay with the show. Don't go anywhere. We're just going to take a quick 5-minute break, and then we'll be right back taking more of your calls, which you can do by adding Trash Talk TV on your Skype. Speak to you soon. Okay, so we're back, just having a big swig of water. Sorry to keep you in the dark, but we're just lining up all the new callers. So far we've been talking about region locking in StarCraft 2, which seems to have rustled a few jimmies. We've got a few callers wanting to call in about that. We've also gone into, Total Biscuit and his appearance on Unfiltered the other day. So that was particularly good. And we've talked about how Blizzard are effectively fucking up every game they make, not even just from an esports perspective, but how they don't make good games anymore, which, I don't know if I entirely agree with that, but certainly I had no time whatsoever for Diablo 3. I thought it was appalling. I just don't get how people can get off on clicking mouse 1 over and over and over again. But that's just me. I like something a bit more stimulating. But anyway, so maybe you've got some fucking responses to that. Maybe not. Maybe you want to call about something different. Our next caller is a regular and one of the fucking greats. He's given us loads of entertainment, so I'm looking forward to what he's got to talk about today. It is, of course, Crazy Ben. So we're just going to add him now. It's Ben Hedworth, for those who don't know. Ben, can you hear me, brother?
I can.
Here he is.
Hear you.
It's great to hear from you. I'm hoping you're going to snap everyone out of it, because it's actually been quite a civilized show so
Really?
far.
Oh.
Yeah, no trash talk, no flame. I mean, even the guy who called in about Total Biscuit was kind of positive. So let's do it. Who are we abusing, Ben?
Oh, we're not abusing anyone. I'm disappointed now. I've been working hard for this show, right? I've been trying to play a bit of League of Legends, trying to follow that scene up. I don't follow Dota 2, so I played some League of Legends. Fuck me, that game's slow. I got bored halfway through, went down for a sausage roll, came back upstairs, the game was still on. What's that all about? Fucking hell,
I did solo queue with someone who went AFK to get a sausage roll, and I reported him. I was really angry about it.
What's he called? Dangerous Clam?
Dangerous Clam.
Don't ask about the name.
I can tell you some stories about Dangerous Clam.
Can you?
From my time in Thailand.
That was snappy.
Hey, this is working. This is working. Right. So anyway, so League of Legends is slow. Is that what you want to call up and talk about?
No.
By the way, if you think that, you should try fucking Dota. You'd have time for a fucking steak bake if you thought fucking LOL was slow. But anyway, so what would you like to talk about, Ben?
Yeah, just give me a second. Turn down my monitor brightness. That shine off your fucking head's really doing my eyes in. Sorry. Right, no, anyway, really. It's a bit of a tame subject, but I wanted to bring it up with you because you're sort of an old man and all that sort of stuff, and you've been around for a while. Yeah. I want to talk about the sort of the new generation of esports games and how free-to-play ties in with the growth of an esport. Yeah, so that's basically what I want to talk about, and how I know this is right. Disclaimer: there's a huge benefit to developers being involved with their game, and one of the big benefits of free-to-play, as you all know, is the developer actually has to stick around after it, right? Because microtransactions, they got to update it to keep all that stuff. So disclaimer: I know there's a huge benefit to the League of Legends, Dota, those sort of free-to-play style games, but I like looking at the negative side of things because everyone's horrible to me, so I'll be horrible to everyone else. Anyway, so I don't think it's much of a surprise that we think free-to-play is going to take over multiplayer gaming, or at least become like the majority aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I don't like the commercial kind of like aspect of these games where any old publisher can add in, a spectator client and all this sort of stuff, because any game can be competitive, right? As long as it's, you've got to hit 2 buttons, it can be competitive. So I don't like the fact that you can add in a couple of features and then support it with money, and you've then got an esport. I'm not saying the community is saying it's an esport, I'm saying the developers are saying an esport. And what I was thinking, I was just comparing the old school way esport. Now, I've not been around for that long. I've not been following esports that long, so I'm just going off of what I've read and what I've kind of worked out myself. So please correct me if I'm wrong here.
Okay.
But games used to sort of shine through, you didn't have that developer support, and I kind of likened it to being like an apprentice, right? I work as a washing up kid, right? I wash pots up and it's fucking horrible. You stink of potatoes, you're on your feet all day and stuff, right? And I've been doing that for 3 years, and I've gone through highs and lows, and I've worked my arse off, and I feel like that shaped me as a person, right?
Right, yeah.
And you know, I've been at the same job for a few years now, and I've got respect now, and I've started chefing and stuff there, and I've worked my way up. And I was thinking this is kind of like how games used to be, you know, to get that competitive community behind them. You go to hell and back, you know, this game's not been updated like this, developer doesn't listen to you, you know, and it's got this community backing it, and no one's listening to you, and it's like, you know, all the different issues that can go on with these sort of games. I'm not going to pick out any specifics, but if the gameplay and that sort of competitive drive shine through, that's kind of like the test of time that you've got a true esport. You've got something that's so good, it kind of lives through the issues and the problems. And I don't like this sort of new attitude of developers. And as free-to-play becomes more popular, we see, you know, more developers going, oh, no, yeah, competitive gaming, money, views, all that sort of stuff. Let's hop on that bandwagon. So we're going to see more of this in a sort of talking about the future. And I kind of feel like the free-to-play model sort of creates these fads in whatever genre is popular in multiplayer gaming. You know, we've had MOBA recently.
And now collectible card games, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's coming up. That's coming up.
There's about 50 of those fuckers been released. Like, serious.
So my point being is, I don't feel like, you know, one of the negatives of developers being involved with the competitive community and getting involved and then making games to get involved with it, is that rather than creating a solid sport that could last for 5 to 10 years, like we've had in the past, we're creating these fads that hang around as long as the genre does, and as soon as that dies out, you know, we move on to the next thing. So, well, not necessarily, that's not you know, that's not the worst thing in the world, but, you know, what about these classics? Like, aren't we going to try and create a game that's just stands the test of time because it is so good? I mean, we've not found it.
I think there's definitely a point in what you're saying, and I'll tell you why. I mean, I remember obviously when Counter-Strike first came out, and the very first beta of that was released in conjunction with a game called Kingpin. I think back in '98, I think it was. Maybe someone in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong. My memory was a little hazy there because I was at university and I was fucked up on drugs. And I went to uni in Wales, so, you know, magic mushrooms everywhere. But anyway,
And sheep.
yeah, and sheep. And when you combine the two, the magic happens, right? So anyway, yeah. So I remember when that came out, and the community weren't fucking really. I mean, like, you know, it had this huge kind of instant appeal. Like, you could see why it was a good game. People were playing on fucking 56k dial-up servers, like lagging and warping around, trying to predict shots. The M4 used to have a fucking scope on it, and it was ridiculously overpowered. And, you know, when Valve kind of picked it up and started developing it, you know, years later, well, maybe not years, maybe 18 months, or I can't remember the exact date, you know, they basically made the mod something awesome, packaged it onto Half-Life, which is one of the most popular games at the time of its release. Yeah. And, you know, fucking obviously it blew up, you know, it became like the single biggest, you know, free-to-play mod at the time, because this predates Dota. So everyone was kind of playing it. It was like a really fucking awesome game, and the community effectively shaped a lot of the changes. You know, they kept playing it and kept grumbling about it every time it was shit and every time it didn't do what they wanted. And in the end, you know, I mean, what people don't remember is everyone who sits around now saying, oh, 1.6 is the best Counter-Strike game of all time. You know, you're part-time faggots. Like, you came to it late if you think that, because, you know, you ask anyone who was around at the time, people say 1.3 or 1.5. And people even created 1.3 and 1.5 when those updates came. I think, I can't remember which it was. I think it was 1.5 was when it maybe moved to Steam. But anyway.
Vanilla servers and all that sort of shit.
Yeah, so what people were creating servers so you could stay and just play that version of the game. You didn't have to get the update. People were trying to boycott the progress of the game. And 1.6, when that came out, 1.5 enthusiasts were basically saying they'd broken it. They'd ruined the game. They hated it. And now, of course, it's the best game ever. So go fucking figure. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. And where the story gets really interesting is in 2004 and 2005, I've now graduated from uni. I'm still on magic mushrooms. I get the opportunity to write about Counter-Strike Source. They tried so fucking hard to make that game the fucking, the esports replacement. And even though it was still in effectively like a beta, I mean, that's how it felt for anyone who played it back in 2005. It was straight into the World Cyber Games, replacing 1.6, even to the point where the qualifiers were played on 1.6, but the finals were going to be played on Source, as if it was somehow...
Holy shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
this is in WCG Singapore. So... obviously, that pissed a lot of people off. 1.6 players still dominated, but I mean, you can argue that there wasn't really a Source scene back then. And it was such a fucked up game at that time. It was so broken that the 1.6 community said this can never happen again, and trying to have too much too soon actually ruined it as an esport because no one wanted to touch it ever again from that point.
Yeah.
And Valve tried to fix it. But the community was just like, you're not fixing the right things. Around about 2006, 2007, they tried to do this big update where they were trying to bring in like cool and interesting things. They brought in this thing called dynamic weapon pricing, where it was going to be like one big stock market across the whole of Source. So whatever gun was popular became more expensive. Whatever gun wasn't became cheaper. So it was like to introduce, more people buying shotguns and new tactics and that. And needless to say, the community hated it immediately. And there was a boycott from all leagues and ladders trying to say, well, we're not going to play this unless you give us CVARs so we can block that out. So Valve did a patch and rolled that out. And then dynamic weapon pricing was never talked about again. And that was pretty much the nail in the coffin, I think, for Valve ever wanting to touch CSS. So, long story short, I think you're absolutely on the money that sometimes when you try and force the issue, it can actually work against you. It can actually make something that probably has the potential, if it goes the long road, to be an esport. It can actually, it peaks and then it just dies. And another good example of that is, the Battlefield games, where we've seen EA kind of throw loads of money at a one-off prize tournament. Teams assemble, they come out, they play, they win, and then that's it. It was a one-off, and there's no sustainable scene.
Yeah.
So I kind of get what you're saying. But that said, if it wasn't for free-to-play, we wouldn't have anything as big or as glorious as the LCS.
And it is this interesting thing is like you can gain this instant community with free-to-play, and then attracting other people to it. I mean, we've talked about paywalls like reason why StarCraft is struggling is because of that instant paywall you have to get through, and then you've got to learn the game on top of that. That would help. I just went dead there.
No, it's all right. Don't worry.
Thomas punched me in the eye earlier so hard that it was just kind of I couldn't open it for about 30 minutes. This is what's going to happen to you if you don't pay up. So,
so I mean, look, I think there's benefits and there's kind of bad elements to it as well. And what I would say is, I think the difference is if you've got a clear plan, and this is the reality. Say what you will about Riot, they've done some heinous shit, right? There's no doubt about it. They're not this shining beacon of esports, and Light annoys the shit out of me because now everyone uses the word toxic to describe assholes because of him. So fuck you if you ever see this. That is the worst contribution anyone has made to esports ever. But Riot had a clear plan when they got in. They knew what they wanted to do. They knew they wanted to make a standalone, simplified Dota clone. They knew they were going to go free to play. They knew from season to season how they were going to increase the viability of the competitive scene. And they knew where LCS was going to be by now. They literally had it all mapped out. And that's why the free-to-play models worked for them. I think a lot of people come into it now. Free-to-play is like, oh, we'll make it free-to-play, and if we get loads of people playing it, we'll go huge. We'll make it esports somehow. And that's not a fucking plan. And I think that's where the problem comes in.
I mean, I have had this sort of like, I say personal experience. I mean, anyone who's played the fucking game has had it. I was very much in the opinion that Firefall, that MMO shooter, was actually going to be pretty good. I remember reading about it back in 2012, whatever, in PC Game, and I was thinking, some of these features, what they're talking about, sound great. And as the game progressed and I got into the beta and all that sort of stuff, they had all these great ideas, and then they tacked on, because they have a PvP mode, that, we're going to invest a lot into esports. And, you play the game, you're like, it's just really an esports game. But you see teams pop up anyway, and you see this kind of like, this whole little scene because somebody's throwing money into it. And what kind of disheartens me about it, and I guess it doesn't really matter, because if it's shit, it's shit. And like you said, if there's no plan, it goes away, whatever. But it's kind of this thing where now people head towards a game, not because they necessarily love it and they want to get the best at it, and then inadvertently being the best means you can enter a LAN or whatever. It's the idea of that, actually, that developer who's doing free-to-play is throwing in $1 million into this esports thing, and I can go play this for a bit and maybe get a bit of the money. And it's kind of like, hipster opinion, but I think it's kind of cool back when you practiced the game loads and loads and loads and got good at it because the game shone through, not because the developer decided that actually you want to kind of support the competitive element of it.
And I think it's brought in a very annoying form of cultural elitism as well within esports, which is that it's almost tiered, like the people at the top who've worked with the developers to, generate hype about the game through approved streaming, getting that beta access, giving feedback on the game's development, which of course allows them to stay one step ahead of the curve in terms of competition. So it becomes this, self-perpetuating thing. I think, in the olden days, esports, it was literally, wow, that guy plays a fuck ton and he's really good, and I play a fuck ton and I really suck, but we enter the same competitions and we see each other and we all know each other. There wasn't really this division. Everybody knew who was the best, and everybody was very respectful of that in a lot of ways. And it wasn't this big sort of celebrity thing. You didn't also have this sort of division of like, he's popular but he's shit. He's really good, but he's not popular. With the sort of viewing numbers phenomenon and the fan base phenomenon in esports, we've really blurred the boundaries. An interesting side thing that might interest you, Ben, you just got me thinking about it the other day. I'm going to put the link in the chat now, and I'll probably put it in the VOD description. But anyway, there it is. Have you ever heard of Peter Molyneux?
Yes, I think everyone's heard of Peter. He's a strange guy.
Right, good. I'm glad. Just in case for people who haven't. He's kind of a legendary guy. He's made some wicked games. If you're old school, you remember Populous and Power Monger. If you're not quite as old school, you remember Black and White. He's made some fantastic contributions to the genre, but he is a little bit wacky.
Yeah,
anyway,
he's crazy.
he's made this fucking. He's working on this game called Goddess, which is available for early access on Steam at the moment. Now, it was a Kickstarter game.
Yeah.
He was crowdfunded. And he's run with it, and he was showing it at the Eurogamer Expo, which I couldn't be bothered to go to because it was moving house. But my friend Gareth, the producer, did go to, and there was 2 nights of free bars. So now I kind of wish I'd gone. Fuck
I had
me.
A chance to go, and I chose not to as well.
Don't worry, it was just for asshole press, I imagine. We could have got you a press pass, but anyway,
I'm an asshole.
That's neither here. That's neither here nor there. This guy basically took a crowdfunded game. And then, in the alpha access, after people pay to get early access, put in a shop for microtransactions.
What?
Which, I mean, this has got to be the ultimate piss take. This makes esports look professional. This is like...
That's true.
Yeah. Right, you fund my game, right? You get early access. Anyone else wants early access, you pay for it. Oh, by the way, there's a shop, and if you don't want to grind for half an hour to find like the next card that's going to allow your little people to have the family unit in their civilization, you've also got to pay for that.
Jesus Christ.
So read that interview, because that is like one of the most disgusting and greedy things I've seen in a long time in gaming. And I think that's a worrying fucking trend that we're getting into now. So some final thoughts of yours, Ben, before we move on to the next caller. Basically, I like to say, I identify it as being the need for a plan. But I mean, do you think that, the free-to-play bubble is, maybe it's already bursted? Do you think it's going to burst? Or do you think it's still going to become the most viable model for creating good, sustainable esports titles?
I think it's going to flatten out when sort of the majority of games that come out are free-to-play. I mean, we're already sort of experiencing this. And I think it will come a time where every free-to-play game has a certain level. So everyone's got a good spectator client, and everyone's got, you know, basically esports features that, you know, help develop a scene, and then that kind of resets everything because everyone's on the same level again. And then, as you mentioned, plans and stuff come into play, and then hopefully, more than a plan, just the fact that the core game, we're going to have something that's going to come out that's good enough, speaks for itself. I feel like, you know, you can pretty much make an esport out of anything if you're smart enough, and there's always somebody there. If you're waving a few dollars in front of their face, will go and practice 12 hours a day to earn that money, which is fair enough. But I'd just like to see a new game that comes out that you sit down and it's just the gameplay speaking for itself, rather than the fact that it's got more support, or, you know, this publisher's very good at communicating with the community and implementing features they want, so it gains popularity that way. So, bit of a hipster rant. Bloody hell, I'm all over the shop tonight. Bit of a hipster rant. Sorry about that, but it's my opinion, so go fuck yourself, people. Okay.
And that's how it works on Trash Talk. Ben, always good to hear from you. I can't wait for our joint project to be announced to the masses.
I've been working out. I'm ready to sort of look beefy, scare, intimidate some esports figures.
You're gonna need to, brother. The shit I've got planned for us. Anyway, yeah, great to hear from you. Hopefully, hear from you next week, man. Thanks a lot for calling in.
Love you lots.
You too, man. All right, okay, so there you go. Free to play. And is it not the case that the better esports titles grind their way up from the bottom, and it's the community that shapes it rather than the developer? And, you know, I probably should have talked a little bit about StarCraft when I was giving my examples, because the original StarCraft did indeed follow that similar path. But it's a little bit out of my element, I'm not going to lie, in the same way that probably some of the things I said about the history of Counter-Strike might have been slightly wrong, because I was just being too cool for games. I literally played through the single-player campaign on StarCraft in, like, whenever it came out, and I was just being a straight baller at university, so I didn't get into that game until much later. And, of course, what I should have done is in 2010, I should have just pretended I loved it all along like everyone else did to get some money. Okay, Gareth, have we got another caller?
Yep. His name's Jay Power. He wants to talk about the region locking again. This time it's a sort of counterpoint to the previous caller we had on about the region locking. So.
Okay then. Well, fuck it then. Let's do it. So region locking. It's an emotive issue. So it's good to have you on the show, Jay Power. What's on your mind about region locking?
Well, what's on my mind is that the second caller. The first one was just very negative about WCS, which I can understand. It was a huge disappointment for all regions, and it kind of messed things up. But the second caller was suggesting a region lock, and I disagree with that wholeheartedly, mostly because it's already been proven that it doesn't work with WCS in Wings of Liberty, when you had countries, qualifiers for countries, and you had the global finals with a number of players from all countries. And there, the foreigners just got slaughtered by the Koreans. They were just punching bags, getting destroyed completely. So I don't think you can just add region lock to the current WCS system and expect it to work out, because that's not going to work out. I don't think region lock may be a bad idea overall, but I think there needs to be more addition to the suggestion. You can't just put a region lock on it and then say, oh, that's going to be fine. I think there has to be, people have to bring more arguments to the table instead of saying, oh, we need region lock because NA pros or some EU pros don't get enough like high place finishes because the Koreans come over. So I think you can just say, just put region lock on it and it will be fine. Because then we just have an extremely disappointed global finals. There is going to be less people from Korea. We had this for this season as well from WCS, all the seasons where the global finals, it just never felt like these are the 16 best players in the world. Yeah. It was more like, all right, there's some players from Korea, those are definitely the best. And there's some people from the other regions, and it just never felt like the global finals had the best 16 players there. So I don't think region lock is gonna just necessarily just make it better by just putting region lock in like that. I think there needs to be more changes.
As a spectator, though, I mean, do you enjoy? Do you enjoy watching all Koreans play? Like, so let's say we get to the last 16 again of this season. It's all Koreans and Naniwa. I mean, are you gonna? Can you enjoy watching that? I mean, do you love the game enough that you can enjoy watching that, or do you need a European guy or an American guy, someone with maybe a bit more personality, or someone a bit closer to your area, your country, your region, whatever you want to call it, that you can get behind and back to make it more exciting for you?
I personally don't, but I can definitely understand people needing national heroes and want to see foreigners do better. And I think like the end of the year, the global finals, where the Blizzard has the ranking system, I think is very good. But still, in a normal like the season 1, 2, and the coming season finals, it's going to be lots of foreigners, and they're just going to get like slaughtered. I mean, it's great that people want to see the players from their region advance, but for what reason? To just get knocked out in the group stage 0-4? I just don't think. I think there has to be better. I think there's better ways to.
Okay, then. So you've anticipated my next question, Jay, and this is where the power part of your name's going to come in. What's the alternative? What can we do? Because seriously, NA is lagging behind everyone else. You know, I mean, there's no getting away from that fact. I think it's a shame, as I said, America produces some of the best personalities, but not the best players. Korea produces the best players with no personalities, and then you've got the Europeans who are pretty much fucking the balance of being, you know, really interesting guys. They're media savvy, not quite as much as the Americans, but they can also play a bit. So Europe are kind of it's almost like one of those games where you've got like dwarves, humans, and elves, you know, and like you know, and like humans are the middle ground. The Europeans are the humans. America is dwarves, and fucking Korea are elves, I guess, to use a nerd kind of analogy. So what would you do, Jay, to fucking make it better?
What would I do?
Yeah, what would you do? You said there's better ways.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't thought much about it, but if you put me on the spot like that, I would, if I would put a region lock, I would definitely increase the number of players that would come out of the Korean region, because right now there's just an explosion of Korean players with the Kespa team switching over. Of course, some are going to retire, but they're not all going to retire, so there's a huge increase of Korean players. And if you region lock it, there's going to be a third of the people of the players from the global finals coming from Korea, and there's just so many good players from Korea that are just going to miss out because they live in the wrong region apparently. So I think there's going to need to be an increase of spots for the Koreans for the global finals. Like region lock, okay, I can see it work somehow. I can see it work for Europe. I don't know about NA, but there just has to be less spots for them than for the global finals, and the prize pool has to be either decreased in NA and EU or increased in Korea, you know, to keep it fair. So that would be my suggestion to, if you're going to region lock it, give more spots to Korea. Yeah, and I mean, because WCS still messes with GSL. GSL had to shut down. It became WCS. There's not going to be an OSL when Kespa switch over. I bet they wanted to have an OSL, but there's still a DreamHack. There is still, well, we're not sure about what's happening to MLG, but there's going to be some Red Bull stuff. So there's still lots of other things coming up in Europe and Korea. And if you're just a Korean, like Korean B teamer, and you can't go to those tournaments, all you have is WCS Korea. And if there's just so few spots, if you look at I can look it up now, at the WCS Season 3 Korean region and see what players didn't make it in, it's just astounding.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
I know exactly what you're saying. I mean, it is so stacked. I don't know what the answer is, because one of the points I made when I did my initial argument, and I wasn't for region locking, which again, by the way, you know, just in case anyone missed it, totally for it now, was that I felt that segregation wasn't going to help people improve. You know, it wasn't going to, like, by playing Koreans less, Europeans and North Americans aren't going to catch up to Koreans. That was the point I was making. And I think what there needs to be is maybe it's to do with the format in WCS, but if there was a way that, I don't know, Americans and Europeans could still sort of compete in a region-locked WCS, but also could still be in some sort of Korean Super League, like our better players got to kind of play Koreans on a regular basis, that would help. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a way that could possibly be done.
Well, I think not NA, just foreign players are just going to get lazy again. I think MLG proved it in the early days, 2011, 2012, when there were no Koreans flying over. All the NA players or the foreign players grabbed all the prize money. Fair and square was kind of just region luck. And they didn't do anything with it. Now they're complaining, oh, we can't build team houses because we don't have the money, and we can't go to Korea to practice, we're so broke. But they had the opportunity. They've been given by MLG the opportunity for so long. You can look it up on Wikipedia. Go look at MLG 2011, 2012, the ranking. You see people like Huck, Naniwa, Idra, all on top there, all American players and European players. So they've been given the opportunity to build those team houses once before. And now Root is like, oh yeah, we need team houses and it's going to be great. We're going to have results. But I don't really believe in that. I think like in the old days, if they're not going to compete with Koreans, I don't think they're going to be like, all right, region lock, I just finished top 10 and I got me some salary, I can pay rent. I don't think they're going to be, let's try going to Korea and try to beat the best. I think there's very few players that would actually do that.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why Naniwa got so good. I mean, he really, I remember talking to him before he went out to Korea most recently, and he was like, look, I don't really have a good time out there. It's very lonely for me, but it's what I need to put myself through to be the best. And that's why, again, I've got nothing but respect for the guy, because he knows sacrifices have to be made for improvement. Here's an interesting thought. Probably is my final question to you. How would you feel about an LCS, a League of Legends style system, where we had team matches for each of the regions with the best players that were voted for by the public, maybe, and so Europe had to play Korea and North America had to play Europe, and basically that sort of dictated how many players got out from each region into the sort of overall finals?
I'm not too familiar. Well, I'm not familiar at all with the LCS system. I'm not too sure what you mean.
Well, so basically how it works is, right, you take an all-star team who represent Europe, and depending on where you finish overall in the rankings, Europe gets 3 spots to enter into the world finals, as opposed to 4 or 5. The region that wins gets the extra spots, so you have more teams from Korea, or more teams from China, or whoever comes out on top gets the extra sort of, if you like, wild card spots, and they are taken from where they finish in the league, if you see what I mean, overall.
But that league would be region locked or not?
Yeah. Well, obviously in League of Legends it is region locked. So what you would do is you would have sort of like region locking, but you would still have incentives to play well within that locked region, and you could still have more people from a certain region going to the world finals based on how they performed when they competed in an all-star match.
I don't quite understand, because if you have region lock competition of teams in all the regions, how would you dictate what region gets more spots in a global finals?
That's what I mean. It's based on the all-star game. That's how it works in LoL.
What do you mean all-star game? I don't quite...
Right, the public vote. I'm explaining this terribly. I feel like we've gone down an awful cul-de-sac. But basically, the public vote for the 5 players they want to represent a region, yeah? So in League of Legends, that's how it works. So, you get double lifters, the AD carry for North America. Everyone votes on it. And then they all fly out and they have an all-star competition. And then, right? And then depending on who wins, so if America wins it overall, instead of taking X amount of teams to the world finals from their league, they get to take an extra one. Like, for example, the favorite to win the world finals now, SK Telecom, they only got there because Europe played so badly and finished, bottom in the All-Star game, that Korea got the extra spot.
Yeah, I definitely get your point, but I think in StarCraft it may be a bit different with the voting system. I'm horribly against invite tournaments. I'm not too sure about Dota, but when I saw the international page, it was like 16 invited and 3 qualified. I don't think that would work in StarCraft. It would be too biased. Even when the WCS first season started and the premier players were invited, there was a lot of talk about some players not getting invited. So I'm not sure how that would work. Even if you would have like, I mean, league you're with 5 players, right? So they invite 5 teams, so there would be 25 players. I couldn't name you 25 players from each region right now. So if people would vote, I think there's definitely going to be people that, there's going to be a lot of discussion. So I'm really against the invite style, especially when you're talking about WCS, because that's like the big thing apparently that everyone has to play if you want to be successful in StarCraft. So I'm not too sure about the invite part, but it definitely sounds good. I'm not too sure how it works in League, but it sounds good, yes. If you fly them all over to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, you've got to remember, of course, it's the difference between a team game and a single-player game. And, not everything's going to be directly transferable. But I don't know. I think the region locking thing, it can definitely be refined. And it's good to hear some counter-arguments about why, it wouldn't necessarily work straight off the bat. But I understand why so many Americans are for it. Because, obviously, they know that their players are going to really fucking struggle when they get to the Worlds. But equally, it's going to rejuvenate the American scene. I mean, we've seen how many Korean flags are in just the North American region locked element of the WCS at the top. And it is a real fucking shame for them, let alone the fact they're not going to get anyone to the Worlds. And when they get to the Worlds in a region lock, they're going to get stomped. So there's definitely... Yeah, there's definitely so much more that can be done. I just don't like the whole fucking WCS format.
I don't at all. I agree with that. I definitely don't think right now it's good at all. I think they've done a really poor job, Blizzard, and I don't think they can do worse. So if they have the region lock, so be it. I mean, it's not going to get any worse.
Yeah, it can't. I don't think it can at the moment. Anyway, Jay, thanks a lot for calling in. We went a bit all around the houses, but it's good. We got there in the end. A great call and some good counterpoints. Hopefully hear from you again in the future.
All right, thanks for having me.
All the best, Jay. Thanks a lot. So, for a minute there, I thought I was back on fucking magic mushrooms. I was fucking wigging out trying to explain that, but we got there in the end. Hopefully people can see what I'm saying, and it's not going to end up as like some fucking long, incoherent preamble where everyone just turns off. But, or maybe you did. Either way, fuck you. I'm not bothered. Right, so we're going to take another quick break. After the break... We're gonna break our no celebrity rule. We usually do no celebrities because just they fucking own all the shows anyway, and it's nice for you guys to just fucking have a platform to give actual opinions as opposed to PR bullshit. But one guy who's free from PR bullshit is Semler. Formerly of the Good Studio, and currently making his way as a CSGO caster. So this is going to be the CSGO element of the show, so you can all fuck off and go and cook yourself some supper or make a sandwich. For those of you who play that game, all 10 of you, stick around. We're going to have Semler after the break. We'll be right back. We're on. What the fuck is that? Numbers, Gareth. You can't just throw me on air like that. What the fuck, man?
3, 2, 1, go.
Right, thank you. Okay, so we're back. Did you have fun in your break? Did you enjoy those ads? Yes. And just a quick point while we're on the subject of ads, a lot of people have been saying to me like, "Oh, I'm totally subscribing to your channel, Streamgasm." Well, just to make it clear, Streamgasm are great guys. I kind of rope these guys into doing this for me. It's not my channel. I don't own it. They're just cool dudes who do what they do, and that means that even more reason why you should probably support them. Don't support me. I don't want your money. I'm happy living like a tramp at the age of 30, whatever. But support these guys. They're young. They have a hope. They have a life. Anyway, if you want to call in, add Trash Talk TV to your Skype. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna talk to our celebrity, which of course is Auguste Semler Massenat. I wouldn't normally have anyone so French sounding on air, but he's actually all right. He's okay. He's not a full Frenchie. Don't worry about it. So, yeah. So are you there, Auguste? Can you hear me? Oh, Semler.
Call still ringing. He did say just give me a call when you like, and I've done that, and he.
Yeah, I like it. You're scrambling to keep your producer credibility.
There we go.
Oh, here he is. It's August. Can you hear me, Sam? Guys are doing this for me. It's not my channel. I don't own it. They're just cool dudes who. Look at him. He's watching the stream. Even more. Talk to me, Sam. Don't support me. I don't. What is this? Like a tramp at the age of 30, whatever. I don't know what's happening here. This is like streamception. If you want to call in, I try to talk TV via Skype. Right, when he catches up to the fact that he should be watching the Skype and not the stream.
Our celebrity.
Let's see, look, what is this? I can't handle this. Semler, come on. Snap out of it, brother. Talk to the Skype. He's actually all right. Talk to the Skype. He's not a full Frenchie, don't worry about it. So
it's going to still be a while.
So are you there, August? Can you hear me?
Yeah, mate, can you hear me? Hello.
He's talking to the stream. He's talking to the stream.
Yeah, he's going to realise eventually.
Alright, I think this is the issue. Can you hear me all right now?
Yeah.
The problem is, it wouldn't be normal. It wouldn't be right if I didn't fuck something up. So I had the stream audio going, and I forgot that I had muted Skype. So I was talking to your stream audio, being like, "Can you hear me, mate?" But
video's gone off, by the way, again.
Standard, man, standard.
Fuck me! What, we lost video as well?
Yeah, just then.
Right, hold on, right. Well, let's start this shit again. Right, hold on. Right.
Yeah. Why am I even here, man?
Right, hold on.
Right.
I think I might be hosting a call. I'm going to drop it in and recall.
Okay. Well, this is fucking brilliant. There. Are we here? Are we? Oh my god. Right. Are we out of the fucking Matrix, man? I thought I'd stroked out. Like, literally, man. That is just fucking man.
That was so good. Oh, man. Fuck's sake. I never failed to deliver, huh?
This is why I love you, brother. This is why I love you. So, fuck. Right. I got you on the show because when you're not performing comedy sketches, obviously,
comedy,
yeah, obviously you're a fucking, CSGO guy, and you're doing some wonderful, fucking casting at the moment and trying to make headway into it. So I wanted to definitely fucking draw some attention to it, brother, and talk about, what you think about what's going on currently in the CSGO scene. And obviously we've heard as well that maybe Toby One's going to get the DreamHack gig, so I wanted to get your opinions about that. So let's start. Let's start at the beginning. How are you finding it? Because obviously you're a Bloodline Champions dude. This is the first thing you've really casted sort of full time since that. So how's it all going for you?
I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it. Love the game. I've been playing it for like a solid 7-8 months now. It's been a long time because the last time I played 1.6 was when I was like 17 or something back in high school. So that's the last time I played an FPS consistently. But yeah, man, it's fucking great. Like I don't know, from which angle are you talking about though? Just watching the game, playing the game, commentating the game?
Yeah, I mean, like, all of it. I mean, fuck playing the game. I think playing the game's like, I mean, okay, maybe you've still got the opportunity to be a pro player. No. Maybe.
But any commentator's got to play the game. I mean, that's any commentator worth his salt.
Yeah, I guess. You don't have to go as mad as you're going, though. I mean, you're on it all the time.
Oh, yeah, man. It's all about the YOLO Hit Squad, man. It's all about getting that matchmaking in. Gonna make a team, gonna compete in tournaments, get stomped.
Don't do that. Don't please. Please don't. But I mean, how are you enjoying it in terms of, ingratiating yourself to the scene, embedding yourself in the scene, getting to know the players, getting to know the game?
No, I'm fucking loving it, man. Honestly, there's just, for me, it's like professional CS. I hadn't followed that closely. Like I'd watched tournaments, like 1.6 tournaments way back, but never followed it closely. So like the history and everything, it feels like I'm back in school. Like I spend a good portion of my day just trolling through sites, just trying to figure out, all right, which team did this guy play for? What's his history? What's all this? Like all the backstory in CS is so rich. There's so much there that I'm spending so much time just trying to absorb all that to catch up, basically, to have something relevant, obviously, to add to the conversation if it ever comes up. But as far as like learning strategy, learning everything, I've had amazing luck, meeting guys like Arc, meeting guys like Vendetta, who have just given me so much insight into the game, like the professional strategies and the meta of the game right now, that, when we watch like a demo together or we just hop on a server and figure shit out for ourselves, they're cutting me in on all the little tips and tricks on each of these maps so that, A, when I play matchmaking, I know them and I can look good. I'm like, oh yeah, I know how to do this flash. And B, when I'm casting a game, I know what these pros are trying to do, because all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, Vendetta told me this is what you do in this sort of situation. Yeah. So there's just so much to fucking learn that it's been a blast, man. I haven't been bored a second.
What about the overall kind of state of casting at the moment? I definitely want to ask your opinion about that, because I don't know. I mean, do you feel like it's a scene that needs some good casters? Like, do you feel like it's an easy area to fucking compete in because the casters we've got aren't so great?
I wouldn't say the casters we have aren't so great. I mean, Anders is still here. Pansy, I think, doesn't get as much credit as she deserves. Risk is around, but there's still a lot of space. That's the thing. There is still a lot of space for competition. Like Anders is kind of the top dog of the scene right now as far as commentary goes. When his stream goes live, he's up at like 18, 19,000 followers now, and when his stream goes live, a lot of people are tuning into him. But that's not to say that he didn't put the work to get there and isn't putting the work in to improve.
Well, I think it's interesting. You've already made a splash. We're gonna play the audience a little clip. I mean, people are already starting to copy you, Semler. I don't know if you've seen this, but I'm just going to quickly get Gareth, our wonderful producer, and maybe I shouldn't even risk this because we've had so many fuck ups in this show already tonight, which we're all blaming on Twitch. Even you watching and talking to the stream on stream, we're blaming that on Twitch. Fucking sort your life out. Anyway, we're gonna play a little short clip, and it's of Risk or Rizik, however you pronounce it, and he's decided to adopt some of Semler's mannerisms and accent in his casting. So check out this. It's the American Risk.
So here we go. Existence on that banana. Oh, one bullet through the smoke. Magic from the team leader. Magic. Yes, right there. And Existent holding it down. Woofer's in the chat. Oh, yeah, Frankacy.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry about that. My dogs got excited, which they sometimes do. Maybe it's because I'm excited because of this incredible start from Very Games here on the first map. And it's a best of 3 as well, so there is every chance that NIP is going to make it back. And hopefully we can put the dogs to sleep soon enough. Well, not to sleep, but, to bed.
Okay. I was just getting worried there.
No. I love my dogs.
This is a good dog. He's a good guy. He's not going to do something like that. He's going to nurse them to sleep. Sing them a lullaby, because Anders is probably the nicest guy ever.
Oh, I don't want to take that away from you.
Here we go for Flowen coming up towards middle with that P250. They're going to run straight into Shox and NBK. Decimation. And that's going to be 12-7.
Indeed, that is obviously, and there's obviously, you know, that was an eco round from NIP, so maybe not too excited. The Very Games could actually bring that home, but now it kind of feels to me like this first map here is going to be decided maybe this round, because NIP, they fought once again, because see, the most they have is $1,000 left on Forest, but everyone else is lower than that, so they need to take this round. It's kind of now or never, and they need a great start to do it.
See if they can get their opening. Early flashbangs come into that second mid. I think they thought the Very Games were pushing down middle, but they weren't at all, so they just wasted a couple of flashbangs there.
Yeah, and didn't get much from it. They are putting friberg over towards Banana, which is hardly a surprise. This is kind of what friberg does a lot, but he kind of fails that grenade. I don't think it would have made a huge difference, but still, you know, annoying for friberg to be making sort of simple mistakes like this early on. And he's going to try and see if he can catch anybody off, but Very Games are playing very defensively in the B-bomb site. They're staying far back. They don't want to battle it out with friberg early on, and I think that's a smart choice from Very Games.
Still no deaths from either side so far, and actually no damage.
Yeah, just peeking, checking that friberg is in fact there. I don't think Existence even actually had to do that peek. He could just know that friberg was going to be there. They're going to smoke it off in case it's a push coming in, and the bomb has made its way over there.
Right, okay, so there we go. Basically, you've made the splash. You've started influencing people into talking with American accents now, Semler. So
I didn't really hear it, mate, to be honest. The way you bigged this up, I was really expecting to be putting on with some like southern accent, some football commentary or something. And perhaps I'm just not as familiar with
Has my producer bungled this?
What's this?
Has he fucked it up? Was the funny not there?
The funny, I don't know, man. But at the time you said I just heard Risk getting really excited, which isn't something you hear too often. But that's it, man.
Well, look, fuck it. Just watch the whole VOD. Like, I mean, it's been one of those shows. I'm firing Gareth after this. Do you want a job, Sam?
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay, good.
Take over the world.
Anyway, so look at Risk long clip. Well, dude, at least someone's noticing your work. Anyway, so let's get back to talking about you. I mean, like, I don't think overall, like, CS:GO is a particularly strong scene right now in terms of casting. And I think we got this massive event coming up, the DreamHack gig, and it's so integral, so vital. We get the right people to vocalize that. Now, people have different opinions on who the right person is. Some people think it should be the community, you know, casters, guys like Anders who put in the hard yards. Other people, you know, are saying that what we need to do is bring in outsider talent from other games. What's your opinion?
I think you need to find a healthy mix, but to be honest, I think it should be the community that's represented, the people who are putting in the most work right now. Of course, you have to remember that I may be slightly biased, seeing as how I would love to do the commentary for this tournament as well, but I still think, you know, it should be community-based, seeing as how it is, after all, a community-funded tournament. You know, the money that's coming from the esports cases is paying for this tournament. So you should be paying attention to, you know, who does the community actually want to be doing the commentary for this? And that has to have stronger weight than, let's just bring in, you know, big names so that we can boost the viewers, and then, you know, as soon as that tournament is over, they're going to fuck off. Like, that's not the way to go about it, I don't think. I think you need to start, you need to, this is the first of a major, this is the first of hopefully many major events that we're going to have for CS throughout the next year. 2014 should be massive because it's events, plural, so there should be more majors, but we need to build up the people who are working in the scene already, build those people up so that then they can just carry CS throughout next year, not just bring guys in, one-hit wonders, or, you know, people with strong followings from other games. Bring those guys in, they get to be in the spotlight for CS, you know, for CS for the first major that it's had in years. And then just, you know, be like, all right, cool, I was here for the event, I got my check, cool, see you guys next time. Like,
so, I mean,
that doesn't interest me.
With the rumors going around about Toby1 being the guy who's most likely to get the gig, do you apply that to Toby? I mean, do you think that maybe this is the, you know, an example of a guy who's, you know, running out of chances in Dota 2, he's looking for a new game, a new paycheck?
I mean, he made it clear already in one of his tweets, I think it was when he was doing the Starlighter commentary, that, you know, people were like, why don't you cast more CS? And he's like, I'll cast CS when there's, you know, when you guys have an international. And to me, that kind of just summed it up all, you know, right there. It's that was a pretty clear picture painted for us that, okay, you know, he really just wants to get into it if there's going to be a major event. And now we figured out that it's not going to be in an international. It's going to be several major events throughout the year where he's like, sweet, let me see if I can get in on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. It's opportunistic. It's if he gets the opportunity, he certainly has the connections to make it happen. If he gets in, great.
Just to play a bit of devil's advocate here, Sam. Just to do
Sure.
it. I mean, what would you say the difference is between someone like Toby getting involved with the scene, kind of belatedly, and someone like yourself getting involved with the scene?
I mean, that's the thing. I'm not in the best place to say it because I'm new to the scene as well. Like I'm not necessarily new to the game. Been playing the game for quite some time now, but the commentary that I did, it was just a whim, and people really seemed to enjoy it. So I started just kind of running with it, and if people were enjoying it, I didn't really see any reason to stop. I was enjoying it, they were enjoying it. It's kind of reminded me of how I got into BLC commentary in the first place. You know, I just did it on a whim. At the same thing, you know, I've told this story a few times where it's just like it was a case of put up or shut up. You know, see if you can do better. And I just tried it, and I really enjoyed it. People enjoyed it, and we just kind of went from there. But CS, like I was streaming matchmaking, and then nobody was commentating. Can't remember. It was one of these matches, and people were just like, "Why don't you commentate that match? Let's see how it goes." And I was just like, "Sweet, yeah, let's do it. I'm bored. Let's do it." And just went from there. People really enjoyed the commentary. And since I was having so much fun, you know, just it's a commentary style that fits my style as well. Because when I watch things, when I watch games, that's why I love esports. And like, I don't care about necessarily which game I'm watching. I just love to see a display of skill, and I get excited when I see that. So for CS, when especially, you know, it's a game that revolves around big burst moments where all of a sudden you have Scream, he runs into a site and gets fucking 4 kills and blows the fucking defense apart. Like that for me, I almost fall out of my chair when I see that. Even if I'm just sitting there watching, I'm not even doing the commentary. I'm screaming and clapping my hands in my room.
Yeah.
Like Barry Games versus Nip when they were playing online, my hands hurt after the fucking event, after the thing, because I was clapping them so hard. Because I was just so excited that Barry Games were finally going to break the curse after 16 fucking games and beat Nip. Like, to me, CS, like just watching CS, I've had so much fun doing it. So if I can commentate it and people enjoy that, why the fuck not?
So if you were in charge of the whole DreamHack Casters gig and you were having to assemble a, I don't know, fucking dream team, who would you take to do the job? Take yourself out of it.
Yeah, take myself out of it.
Yeah, I'll say take yourself out of it because obviously, you know, we all want to do it. We all want that dirty like, DreamHack money.
Have to put in.
So who would you take? Who would you assemble?
Well, it really does depend on who's. I think Anders, without question, would be the first to come to mind. To be honest, whether you think he has rough edges or not, I think he would be the man to spearhead. I mean, he's already at the head of the community as far as things are concerned. He's already doing all the commentary right now, and he's been doing that for like a solid 6-7 months, and people really enjoy that. You can see that with the popularity of his channel, the number of followers he has, the number of people who are tuning in on a nightly basis just to watch him cast. That tells a story right there of, you know, he is chosen by the community to really represent them. He would be like the point man right there. It also depends on how many casters you have to work with. You know, like War Owl. I mean, there's like Natu, who would be great for color commentary. Like, I wouldn't want Lurpus there, you know, no matter how much people apparently adore him for his color. I just think that, you know, apparently he can be really professional on stream, which is something. But just, you know, the amount of shit that he throws out,
I haven't noticed that.
is just toxic. I think he's toxic to the community as far as I'm concerned. So it's just like, I wouldn't have Lurpus there. Karn, I would love to have Karn as a color commentator, but the thing is that I think he would hate himself because he needs to be behind Fnatic as a manager. Like, he needs to be there for his team. The biggest event all year in years. If he's not standing behind his team as a manager, that's, I don't know if he could, you know, I mean, that's something right there. So I think Karn should be, you know, if he was an option, I would have him as a color, but he's supposed to be, you know, there with Fnatic. It's really, that's the kind of tricky issue, isn't it? It's like, who do you actually have? You know, Red Eye would be great, but apparently he's going to be in like Shanghai. So I don't know if he's found a workaround for that or not, but like Red Eye, Anders as 2 play-by-plays, and then you have like Karn to come in as a color, and then maybe like Natu.
I mean,
as well.
Yeah, I see people talking about Joe Miller and Tosspot. First, I think Tosspot's got too much going on with Twitch, especially during DreamHack.
Tosspot wouldn't come back.
Yeah, I mean, like I think he needs to be out there, sort of, you know, going around and doing Twitch TV type stuff. Anyway, at an event as big as DreamHack. And as for Joe Miller, I watched him casting some of the EMS.
Not come back either.
Yeah, well, and like I remember there was one moment that really stood out for me, and he literally just turned around and said, "Oh, sorry guys, I've got to ban these fucking spastics." And he just sat there and that was his exact words. And he just sat there on chat, just going through the chat, banning everyone. He looked bored as fuck, miserable as fuck. And obviously, I mean, that's just the classic part of the CS community that, you know, we generally drive good people out of it because, you know, we're just so fucking hideous to them. And then we sit around and go, why have we got no good people?
I mean, it's the like I for one, I haven't experienced it too much per se, and I obviously haven't been around as near as long as you. That's the thing. For me, I'm still fresh and new. Like I'm coming into this, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can. I've seen the possibility of the poison, you know, of people just of that venom in the scene. I've seen it, but it hasn't been directed at me, so I haven't had that first, you know, hand, brush with it yet. But
what? Sorry, I was going to ask, what about, you know, I mean, it's interesting because Corey Dunn's coming to DreamHack. That's confirmed. So whatever dream team you put together, Corey would have to be there. And he's a guy who took a lot of shit after ESEA, right?
That's the thing. I mean, the community gave him a lot of shit, you know, after ESEA. And this is another, I don't know, you know, that's how far do you want to put yourself out there, obviously. But it's another thing of, like, he's a COD 4 caster, isn't he? Like, not a COD 4, but like a COD caster. Like, what does he actually do right now? Because all I've ever seen him do is basically major events. Like, I still think that, like, the Dream Team should also include people who are streaming on a day-to-day basis, you know, just constantly cranking out commentary, trying to put out content in the scene, and just try and, you know, make sure that there's that sort of stuff out there in the scene on a day-to-day, whether it's best of ones or best of threes or online tournaments, or you're managing to cast a major event. It's like the people who are there and in the thick of it, I think, should get priority over the people who kind of, you know, the fair weather friends or something like that. Like,
I mean, it seems like, I don't know, it's maybe we're putting a bit too much importance on it, and like maybe, you know, the problem we're in is everyone's clamoring to get this, like, you know, golden fucking ticket, right? This golden job. It's going to be like the biggest CS:GO event of the year by far, and probably is one of the biggest Counter-Strike events of all time. And everyone wants to be associated with it, no matter how fucking, you know,
of course. But
tenuous.
that's why, you know, like, you have to take what I say with a grain of salt, because of course I'm biased and I'm involved, and I absolutely want to cast this event. Like, I would give my left nut to cast this event. It'd be fucking awesome. Like, just to see the games. I mean, just to see the games and be there and be able to share, like, just to be able to be a part of it would be like the most sick experience. But it's also, you know, the thing is, it's like we've talked a lot about this, and it's also the case of if I'm not chosen, if I'm not there, it's all good, because I'm still going to do the daily content, and I'm still going to try and stream as much as I can and do the commentary as much as I can, just so long as it's a good choice of people who are actually going to be the ones, you know, representing it, because this is going to get so many eyeballs from outside of the scene. This is such a good opportunity to really get some momentum going for the scene, and, you know, carry that momentum forward with whatever Valve intend to bring for us, whether it be free to play or, you know, an expanded marketplace, any kind of changes that they bring to the game to bring in more casual players and more, just, you know, try and big up the community. All this could start right here with this event. And so, and the people who are going to be, you know, and if you have these new people that are coming in, and these are the faces that they're going to see at the first time, you know, they tune into CS and they're like, what the fuck is this? And they love it, and they see these faces, but then they never see those faces again until the next major event. It's just like, it's a bit of a shame.
So I just want to sort of end on, you know, thinking about kind of, you know, what are you going to be doing? I mean, like, right, let's say you don't get the DreamHack gig, right? Which, you know, I think it'd be a shame. I'd like to see you do it. You know, I've been a fan of yours for a long time. You know, before you started casting CS:GO, I think you need to be on screen more. That's my opinion. But you know,
you're awesome for saying that.
It's true, man. I fucking, that's how I feel about it. I definitely see fucking people who are terrible, you know, out there.
Well, you know, already just the reaction from the chat when I was coming on to the show, there was a couple outspoken gents in there. It actually got me laughing, though. It's great to see that reaction.
No, of course,
love
man,
or hate.
Of course. Yeah, well, yeah, look, exactly. At least you're inspiring reactions. But certainly in terms of being polished, I think you're better than a lot of people, you know, in a lot of games. You know, you're a good-looking lad. You know, you look presentable. You scrub up nice. You've got a great accent, as we've seen. Risk certainly agrees. So... you know, what are you going to be doing? I mean, let's say you don't get the DreamHack gig. Where are we going to see you next? What's the long-term plan? I mean, what would you say to people who think that maybe the previous, you know, however many months you've been putting in was almost like an audition for this DreamHack gig, given your previous ties to the Good Studio and whatnot?
Well, okay. So already what the plan is basically just to continue cranking out content on my own personal stream, and then try to get as many interviews out as possible as well, and another content that I can to build big up my YouTube channel. But it's like I just want to get interviews, and also I have that's the cool thing is that I have decent access to. I mean, based in Stockholm right here, I have access to NIP, and I'm trying to figure out things that I can do, with that would be fun to tune into to watch with them. Other things is like, I mean, you have other smaller events. That's the thing, That's the thing with CS is that it's not all just about DreamHack Winter. That's not the be all end all. There's still plenty of events out there. Just like the end of this month, we have EMS, we have Starladder, we have ESEA, we have Fragbite Masters, and we also have MSI Beat It. Like these are all major tournaments that are going to be going down. There's still respectable tournaments, and there are still opportunities to cast there. So it's just like I almost see it like Steven Pressfield style, where it's just like I've chosen this now as my work, and I'm just going to do the work, and I'm just going to continue doing the work because it makes me feel good. I enjoy the work. I enjoy the game. And, if I put in a solid 10 hours, at the end of that, I can go ahead and kick back and, watch a series or something and feel good because it's like I did my work for the day. I really did apply myself. I really did put what I could into it. And that's it. And CS is that chosen medium for me now. Like I'm going to just continue being on CS. And that's it. Whether I get the DreamHack gig or not, whether I get any casting gig or not, doesn't really matter. I'm just going to focus on that for now.
Okay, well, I mean, look, it's been great to catch up with you and to get your thoughts about it.
You don't want to talk about Tech Labs? You don't want to talk about...
Oh, fuck, yeah, shit. You know what? Yeah, I fucking forgot about Tech Labs. I was so busy looking at the clock because I hate my job so much.
Well, I mean...
I just treat it like...
go, man.
No. My girlfriend doesn't want to see me anyway. Let's fucking let's not beat around the bush here. That's not a pun either. Right. So let's talk about the disaster at Tech Labs. I sort of just asked like a big finale send off question, like, hey, where can we see you next, and where can we buy your book, Semler? But yeah, fucking all right, Tech Labs. Dude. So Tech Labs, what I heard was Tech Labs was a monumental fuck up of epic proportions. Like it was just so fucking hideous for the spectators. It was hideous for the casters. It was hideous for the players. I got told at one point while the final or something was underway, they brought a load of fucking girls on in hot pants to do a bubblegum blowing competition. So it sounds horrific. Now you casted the event. How fucking horrific was it?
Well, it was pretty sad. It was a disaster. Lord Hall is saying it in the chat. It was a fucking disaster. And Anders and I, we both woke up. I woke up a little bit late, unfortunately. I was up at like 9:30, but Anders was up at like 8:30 that morning to cast. Yeah. And the games were supposed to start at 9, but we were already like forewarned where we were just like, okay, it's Tech Labs. We'll be at least an hour behind. So I was like, cool, I didn't miss anything when I showed up. When in fact the guys had started up. But this is like the issue from what we could gather, because obviously it was like us kind of just scrambling for information, trying to find out what the hell was going on over there, is from the player perspective, they started roughly on time, but the PCs crashed twice for LGB before they even started. So thank God it wasn't during the game, but still, they had PC issues. This is kind of standard from what I understand. But the real issue, and the issue, the reason why there was no stream and why they ended up having all this other bullshit that was going on in the meantime, is because they couldn't actually get a GoTV IP up or an in-game observer into the actual server. So basically it meant that they had to play the finals because they had the main stage set up for CS. This was the time bracket. They had to play the finals then with no way for anybody to watch it at all. Like the best we have is some random news site that was there that were intermittently like posting results and then and then photos from their phone, I guess, where they were like, oh yeah, look, here's a picture of Zeus playing, And you're just like, God damn it. And you're trying to look at the picture to see if you can make out the score on the picture, on his monitor, because you have no idea what the fuck is going on. The entire thing, we were just sitting here going, what is the score? Because this is LGB's breakout moment. This is their moment as a team to show themselves on LAN and rid themselves once and for all of this onliners bullshit that's been following them.
Yeah.
And not only that, they did it magnificently. They beat them 2-1. So, I mean... But we didn't find that out until like late at night, basically, when everybody was like, oh yeah, by the way, they did play today. What was the score again? Oh yeah, LGB won. Awesome. But that's how dejected we were after this fucking fiasco. We were just sitting there watching these kids. It was like two hosts in cut off jean shorts, like up on the stage talking to each other. They had a bubblegum blowing competition where they were getting like cute girls to come up from the crowd to blow bubblegum. and do their best job to blow a bubble, like no innuendo or anything there, right?
Yeah, of course not, yeah.
And then they had they also had like their own like Belarusian Bruno come out onto the stage in like a bright red suit and a bow tie, and this like model chick with a red dress, and you're the whole time, and there was no audio for the stream either, no audio for the main stream. So this whole time we were like making up what they were saying and basically just taking the piss because there was nothing else to do apart from like slam your head repeatedly into your desk. It was so painful. The whole thing was just so bad.
How did they fuck it up so bad, though? I don't get it.
This is what blows my mind, dude. Because I was like, all right, this event, maybe they're new, maybe it's small, maybe they're just doing this out of some fucking LAN cafe somewhere. No, this was like major. This was like ESWC shit, like Game Week for Paris, where you have thousands of people. There was like 3,000-4,000 people right there in front of the main stage, and yet they can't get the setup for a GoTV IP or even an in-game observer so that the people standing there who came to watch, because you could see these kids, looking up and being like, what the fuck is going on? They're watching the players. They probably showed up just to watch this, and nobody knows what's going on.
It's a problem that comes up all the time at these expos, like obviously my company's run a few, and we've tried to put esports front and center and have people there explaining what's going on and stuff for passers-by. But I think a lot of people don't care, and I've seen it many a time when people are trying to play, and it's like a final or something. There's thousands of pounds on the fucking line, and they just, all right, well, halfway through, I'm going to start promoting something really loud, music playing. But people all coming around like trying to get fucking giveaways thrown out of the crowd. You're like, dude, there's a fucking competition that it might not be majorly important.
2 meters away.
Yeah, but behind you, someone's trying to win $10,000 fucking dollars or something, and at least wait until they've finished, maybe. Or why even bother having the tournament in the first place if it means that little to you,
But that's the question that's raised. It's like, is this just a game exposition? Was the tournament added as an afterthought? Why was this not put as a priority? If you've got money on the line, and this is to qualify as well for the main Tech Labs event that's happening in Moscow, if there's so much riding on this, why not make sure you do it right? How does it come down to the very last minute where you figure out that, oh, fuck, by the way, guys, we're not going to be able to stream the matches, That's your main exposure right there. You want to get out to the audience that's going to be waking up in the morning on a Saturday morning to watch these games because they want to see one of the best Swedish teams play against Na'Vi. And then you don't have fuck all for them. You're just like, oh yeah, by the way, here's a blonde chick blowing a bubble. It's just, it blows your mind.
The only thing that got blown was your fucking mind by the sound of it.
No, unfortunately, huh?
If I know you, Semler, if you'd been there, that might be very different, right? You sly old dog. So that was Tech Labs. Okay, so since you're taking over the show, did I miss anything else out?
No, actually, I mean, that was pretty much our experience. We were there for like 5 hours. It turned into a talk show on the stream. We had Toby and Fiflaren, so we did like an impromptu interview with Fiflaren about NIP, and then Toby was on the stream. And then that was that was the other thing, is that like the rumors, I don't know, unfounded or not, of Toby, going for the DreamHack Winter thing, is that Anders brought it up with me afterwards. He's like, did you notice, like, when I asked him, if you're going to get into CS commentary, he was like really defensive all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like really defensive. Like, no, I don't have time. I'm all Dota, And then to hear these rumors now that, oh yeah, in fact, he is trying to get into DreamHack Winter, you're kind of like, is this just standard Toby antics or what? But whatever. I mean, that was pretty much like the highlight of the day. It was like Tech Labs, never again. And you really hope that Moscow is going to be something amazing to make up for it. That's all. That's like the only hope you can have, because at this point, it's like, are teams even going to bother sending their players there? Because the amount of exposure that the teams got, like Na'Vi, Zero Gravity must be beside himself. He must be furious because his team got no exposure. LGB aren't sponsored, but still, like, no exposure for them either. That's a big deal right there.
Yeah, I mean, look, it doesn't take much to get him furious. I think he's always fucking...
he's always...
he's always got something to moan about. I think he thinks Na'Vi are the biggest fucking thing in esports, somewhat unrealistically, but that's up to him. But, I think whenever you have events like this, man, it's a fucking real blow. I mean, like, CSGO needs successful events. CSGO needs smooth running events, and it needs big events. And it needs the events to sort of be put to the forefront, not fucking other things. And for years and years and years, the people who run the Counter-Strike tournaments, treated almost as like the afterthought of esports. And that's been one of the things that's really hampered its growth. I mean, sure, you could argue they do that because the numbers aren't there, but we're starting to see the numbers now, you know?
Exactly. That's the thing now. That's the thing. See, like, the player base is consistently growing, and the viewer base is consistently growing. We match, like, on an average night now, we pull in for a good match, you know, like 7 or 8K on NIP TV.
Yeah.
Like, Anders is consistently getting very respectable numbers for matches on a nightly basis. Yeah. So it's, you know, when you're rivaling organizations such as WCS, you know, like tournaments such as WCS for viewing numbers, when you see the backing that StarCraft 2 gets as being like the esports flagship game, CS, you know, is not very far from the mark at this point. You know, major events are pulling in 20, 25, 30. I think we had like something like 40K across all streams for DreamHack Bucharest. Like, that's a very respectable figure right there as far as streaming numbers is concerned.
I was going to say, I mean, it puts it in perspective when you think that, you know, Anders doing a stream just commentating on a game, you know, in not an amazing tournament, you know, something that's middle tier, is getting, you know, more streaming viewers than the highest individual streamer in StarCraft 2 in a month. You know, so for example, you know, they might get 7,000, 8,000. You know, if you're getting 10,000 on a CS:GO game, you know, it does show how far the game has come, and sort of how other esports games around it are changing. So I think there's definitely an opportunity there for CS:GO to sort of get FPS back to being a viable esport. I just think it needs the people who organise the tournaments to stop treating it like the afterthought. You know, that's exactly what we need.
I think you know, DreamHack Winter is basically a slap in the face saying wake up, you know, pay attention, and just, you know, if anybody who takes the time to, that's the thing. It's also, you know, where they just write it off out of habit now at this point. Be like, oh, well, we, you know, CS, pay no mind. You know, for the past few years, it's been, you know, a sleeping giant, you know, basically. Oh, it's starting to wake up again? Well, it's like, if they just looked at the numbers and saw now, if they took the time to look at the numbers and saw now where they're at, all of a sudden that becomes very interesting. It does become something that you can take to a sponsor and be like, you know, look at this. This is the kind of figures we're getting right now. This rivals one of the biggest events all year. You know, you can make something work with that. Yeah, and that's why, you know, that's why there's so much. 2014 is going to be an amazing year for CS as far as I'm concerned. Like, I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not, you know, it's like, I don't feel like I'm hoping for something, you know, hoping against hope or anything like that. I feel like 2014 is going to be a kick-ass year for CS, and I just can't wait to see it come. You know, DreamHack Winter is just going to be the start, I think.
Well, despite me severing ties with that particular scene, I do hope you're right, because there's still some good people involved in it. I know a lot of the people I came up with have kind of got bored now and retired. They've just, you know, fuck it, it's never going to happen. But some have had that last throw of the dice. They're desperately clinging to the dream. And I hope that they get a shot at the big time. It'd be nice to see someone else. And again, no disrespect to Nip, because I love him. You know, I'd love to see someone other than Nip win it, you know?
Oh, sure. But I think, you know, it's obviously that's the big form of entertainment now, I think. It's like people are writing it off as like, oh, I'm not going to watch because it's Nip. But I think more people are tuning in to see if the Kings are going to be dethroned. Yeah, that's the big deal, because when Virtus Pro beat them, like, that was a shitstorm. Everybody was going apeshit. They were like, is the reign over? And then no, Nip had to come back and crush in, you know, afterwards. But now when they're starting to lose maps online consistently, you know, they lose to Kick. They lost a best of 3 versus Very Games. ENCE was able to beat them in the ESC like Cup number 3. Like, all of a sudden, you know, these giants are seeming, you know, they're showing that they're vulnerable. And so it really, you know, I want to talk obviously more with like the Nip players and get what's going on in their mind right now and see, you know, like what are they thinking about the whole situation. But I just think that the gap in skill is closing. Like, Very Games are if you watch the NBK interview that I linked earlier, they're working like a steady job. Like, they're putting in 7-8 hours a night of structured practice, and you can tell in the results. I mean, they crush now. They are doing a fantastic job. I think Very Games are the team to look out for now, and NIP have to be very much aware of that fact. And that's across the board as well. I mean, all these teams, especially with DreamHack Winter coming out, we're going to see some insane number of hours like logged for each of these pros. Like, they're going to be busting their ass to get up to the top. And if NIP wins it now, it's no longer certainty. It's very much, you know, NIP might lose, you know, when it matters most.
Well, look,
I might get punched by Get Right next time he sees me, but it's like, it's definitely a possibility now.
Yeah, it's a shame because it's like, while I respect the success, there's no doubt that everyone's going to be rooting for everyone they play at every stage of the game. It's a real shame that that's the case. But I just think, people feel it's time for somebody else. It's what happens to all great champions. It's the reason why people hate Man United and in the soccer, and it just comes with it.
But I'm a Man U fan.
Yeah, I know. Well, all foreign scumbags are. So anyway, I think on foreign scumbag, that's a good fucking point to.
That's a good one, because I'm not just one foreign scumbag. I'm a mix of two. So you get like the 1-2 there.
A mongrel. But look, it's great to talk to you, man. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you do more work in the scene. I think you're one of the guys that can really contribute something positive to it. And look, fuck it, we'll have a good time out at DreamHack, because I reckon neither of us will have the gig, and we can just get fucked up instead.
Exactly, right? Bro. We get some drinks. We count on you, I know.
Right. Anyway, thanks a lot for coming on, Sam. Keep it real, yeah.
Take care, mate. Thanks.
All the best. So there you go. That was Semler, the man, the myth, the legend, doing great work. I really do like his casting. I said it when he first started into the casting scene. I think he's a very polished guy. And yeah, okay, maybe he doesn't have the same level of background as, old farts and fuddy-duddies that know about the scene. But he's a guy who's working really hard to make sure that he gets it. And you should totally support him. You can follow him on Twitter. I think his name is Semler the Riot. But definitely follow him if you're a CSGO enthusiast. And, fuck knows, the DreamHack studio is going to be going live soon. He's got ties to DreamHack. Who knows? Maybe he can worm his way in there and get a CSGO show going in the DreamHack studio, which I'd think would be awesome if he could do that. Worm away, Semler. Come on, don't let us down. Anyway, that is the end of the show. We've gone 15 minutes over time. I got shit to do. And I just want to apologize for the slipshod nature of the show. We've had all sorts today, haven't we, Gareth? We've had lag issues, Twitch issues.
Yep, anything that could happen went wrong.
Yeah,
today.
Skype went down. I think we fucked up the punchline on the Rizk thing, which I'm still going to blame you for.
I'm not blaming me. Well, 7 shows in, and it's the first one where we've had a series of issues. It's not too bad.
Here's the thing, though. I'm not going to edit any of that out of the VOD.
No.
No, fuck that. I'm real, baby. I'm going to fucking leave it there. I don't care if the show is a fucking shambles. This is trash talk. It's all real talk. No fluff with all the fluff left in. But just to end on a positive fucking note. And sorry to all the callers. We had a fucking fuckload of callers that didn't get on. So really apologies. Next week, brother, we'll do it. But anyway, for all of you TV enthusiasts out there, I'm pretty sure you know that Breaking Bad it has come to an end. And I'm not going to do any spoilers. Jesse dies, and I'm not going to do any spoilers. It's a great show. It's one of my favorite fucking shows of all time. 2 things I wanted to bring to your attention. Not that Jesse dies. Is that the New Yorker that wrote a great piece about it, which actually made me appreciate the finale a hell of a lot more. You should definitely check that out. It's a very interesting theory about the last episode, which obviously I can't talk about too much. I'll put the link in the chat, but you can track it down. It's fucking awesome. And it really made me appreciate the finale a lot more, even though I think it was a great stretch, but it just shows the layers that are present in the TV show. But to end on something less highbrow, one of the funniest things I've seen recently is this photograph, which is a man cracked some eggs into a pan, fried them, and they started to look like Hector Salamanca. So if you don't know who that is, that's the old dude in the wheelchair who talks through the bell. And I'll get the producer to just bring those up now. Have you done that, Gareth? It's up. Okay, so there you go. Eggs that look like Hector Salamanca, people. And that's our tribute to Breaking Bad. It was a great show.
You could say it looks exactly like him.
Oh, my God.
I had to crack that one, didn't I? Oh my God.
He's just done it twice. Yeah, fuck this show. Fuck your job. Fuck my life. That was Trash Talk. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Great numbers today. Thanks for everyone who called. Thanks for everyone who didn't get through. And be sure to catch the VOD, which you can catch in CAD Red clips. We'll see you next week, same time, 8 o'clock on Wednesday.